Today we're taking a look at the Leatherman Blast. This is a very unique tool and one that to me I think has almost the perfect tool set and maybe better than what we have at this time. Now in 2004 Leatherman came out with some brand new tools. The Blast was one of these. They came with these Zytel inserts. This was seen as being innovative by some people and hated by others, but it's a very strong plastic-like material that was added and did help the comfort of using the handles to some people. Now, this lasted for 8 years, and this plier head was purported to be one of the strongest plier heads for Leatherman at the time. Right here, we see that it's a very narrow plier head at the end. We've got the cutters and the hard wire cutters there. I don't really see a crimper here at the bottom. Perhaps you could use the bottom of these handles, but they don't seem to be designated for that. Whereas a tool, the replacement for this, the Blast, actually does have wire crimpers, the Rebar. Now, on here, one of the fascinating things is these are in a 4-inch frame set, yet again, they have a lot of characteristics to the Leatherman Super Tool. This one right here does have the roller markings. When we close it up, it does remind you of the older pattern, just like the Rebar. All the tools are on the inside. There were 2 different push button configurations. They were strengthened during the 8-year run that the Blast was made by Leatherman. Pretty cool tool. Now, opening this up, we can go ahead and look at some of the tool set. One of the things, first of all, that jumps out to me is that these actually have a pair of scissors. We'll take a look, try to test them out a little bit later. These have a set of scissors. Then they also have this really nice file. Then we are greeted with the wire cutter, or wire stripper rather, can opener, bottle cap lifter, 3-dimensional Phillips driver, then these scissors. Now on the other side, I like that it has the micro driver, then a lot of these screwdrivers as well. So you have, this is like a very small screwdriver, a larger screwdriver than the micro screwdriver. Then there is the knife and the saw. Now, Leatherman must have felt like that a lot of people preferred the serrated blade to the scissors, but to me, this right here is almost a perfect tool set for a lot of people. I don't really understand why we don't see this more often. For instance, I don't understand why the Rebar doesn't come standard with this tool set. To me, Leatherman got it right with this. Let me know what you think. Do you think the serrated blade is a lot nicer to have than the scissors? Not in my book, but maybe for a lot of other people. Let's go ahead and take a little test of the scissors. So these actually, wow. They actually work far better than I expected. Pretty impressed with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the specs. 6.9 ounces, whereas the Rebar comes in, or mine does, at 6.5 ounces. So I guess it was a little bit heavier than the Rebar is now. Now I've gone through a couple Rebars with my modding, so this is one that I did buy fairly heavily used. But there are a couple things I want to notice about this. Now, they do have some similar tool sets, but this is what you get with the Rebar. You get the knife, the file, then there is the awl, which is missing from the Blast. I never really use an awl, so that doesn't really bother me at all. There's a screwdriver. A lot of the rest on this side is very similar to the Blast, except you do not get the serrated blade. I do feel like the Blast has a lot more quality tools, or a couple more quality tools than the Rebar has. This right here is a close-up of the 2 files, trying to get them as close as I can, and you can see that the Blast actually has a longer file, and it feels a lot more, it feels thicker to me, not near as thin as the current Rebar generation has. It just feels a lot better made. Also with the saw as well, this one right here, surprisingly, feels a lot better than the current rebar. It does seem like it's a little bit shorter as well. I think with the plier head, it did change, and the blast just feels a little bit better. The rebar feels a little bit just thinner and more bendable, to be honest. Now, when we look at the old generation and the new, we do definitely see some huge differences. The Rebar got this almost miniature super tool plier head, which is really cool. But again, as I just showed you, there are some negatives to it, that some of the tools have to be smaller and they have to be thinner as well. When we go on the side here, yes, it does look like the Rebar has a lot beefier plier head, but if you like longer tools that seem a little bit thicker in the handle, then you would definitely probably want to pick up one of these older blasts. If you want a thicker plier head, then definitely the Rebar is a better tool, again with this crimper notch and the replaceable wire cutters, although Leatherman's current wire cutters do leave a little bit to be desired at times. Now, when we look at the handles, to be honest, I really can't tell a huge amount of difference between these. The Rebar did a really nice job, Leatherman did, with the Rebar of rolling over the edge, so it's not extremely uncomfortable. And then with the blast, you have these Zytel inserts, which do make it a little bit more comfortable to grip. If I had to pick a judgment, I would say the Rebar might feel a little bit more beefy than the blast, but again, the blast has those better internal tools, which I do like. You do definitely see a more streamlined finish on here, whereas with this you do have this style, just like with the super tool and with some of the older tools, how they make this defined dip right here at the end. Now, one of the things that I did not mention is there is also a lanyard attachment, a holder right here. I've never seen why that's useful, but I'm sure it is to some people, so the blast does come with that. So for any of you interested, this is a 2009 model. This ran from 2004 to 2012. With the Leatherman Blast, I did get this Velcro pouch that it fits in. It's a fairly simple nylon pouch that Leatherman made, I guess at the time. Has this belt loop, and then the Leatherman Blast fits very snugly in here. There's not much room to put anything else. You definitely aren't fitting a bit kit in there. A very nice pouch. I mean, it's fine, but really no frills. When we look at the Rebar and the Blast, we definitely see that the Blast does look a lot thicker, especially when we look at the top. You see a huge change right here just because they're built a little differently. It is considerably thicker, but I really like the tool set of the Blast considerably more than the Rebar. Let me know what you guys think. I think the Blast is a great tool, and let me know how you guys have enjoyed carrying it.